Welcome to CroHD-Gamer official YouTube channel. And let's play. Let's play.
So what now? You got a plan?
Take a look around in case there's a rear exit. I'll take the main door.
My pleasure.
Пратите? Goods.
Boccherini? Carlo Boccherini?
Nothing of interest out back. Sorry. You better come see this, Mr. Ness.
What is it?
I don't know how to describe it. Is that our man?
Boccherini.
My God.
Boccherini is dead.
We have to find out who did this and why. Let's go.
You're the detective, Mr. Ness. Besides, Alfonso will want to see this. I'll be right back.
All right. I have to establish how Boccherini died. Maybe the body parts can shed some light on the motive.
Okay.
Holy Christ, what the hell are we up against? His eyes were pulled clean out of their sockets. Whoever did this, it wasn't their first time. And if they committed any other murders like this, it's likely that the police found some of the bodies. I must remember to ask Alice. Out before he was killed. The buildup of blood inside his mouth speaks for itself. Takes a strong man to tear that out. Or several. The blood comes from the other side of the corridor and ends next to the body. He was attacked in the other room and dragged to the hall.
No hay docas.
The evidence suggests that the events began in the lounge. How did Boccherini encounter his murderer? Whatever crushed the table must have been really heavy. Or maybe it was thrown extremely hard.
Okay. Sad.
Blood. Blood everywhere.
Да, крви колко хочеш.
What kind of person takes off a wristwatch without unfastening it? Or fastens the strap again after taking it off? Did it break during the struggle, or was it already broken?
No hay docas.
This was opened recently.
Alcohol? Malo čas, bucno. Vratio je čep. Šta je to ovdje na podu? Neke knjige, ili?
Smells of whiskey.
Smrad viskija. To je jedan od dokaza.
Glass on the floor indicates the window was broken from outside.
Prozor slomljen izvana. Dobro.
There's something under there.
Šta je ispod?
How'd it wind up under there?
Pa imamo pištolj.
Not one round fired. It must have happened fast.
Još jedan dokaz je tu.
What is it with Italians and olives? They lap those things up like caviar. One knife's missing, the biggest one.
Jedan nož fali, nedostaje. To je onaj najveći.
Pity he won't last till Christmas, because he'd almost pass for a tree. There's no doubt the murderer took his time.
Pa šta je ovo?
This isn't a cut, it's a tear. His hands were ripped off. Who has that kind of strength? What's he got stuck in there? Looks like the bottom of a glass. It's Boccherini, no doubt about that. Although the one I remember was more together. The murderer tore Boccherini's hands off. Hands ripped off, teeth torn out. I guess I'll have to rule out criminal intent or a personal angle. Boccherini's eyes still haven't shown up. Pieces of glass from the window in the hall, found inside the house, fully loaded. An open bottle of whiskey. I'd say Boccherini was drinking in the dining room when his assailant burst in through the window. Boccherini pulled his gun, but the murderer disarmed him before he could shoot. Where did the torture begin? A blood-stained wristwatch, with the glass broken and the strap fastened. Jammed shut from the inside. Maybe between the two of us when Milton gets back. If I'm not mistaken, this door opens onto the same room as the locked door in the kitchen. Blood and some kind of sticky liquid. This car looks too classy for a forger like Boccherini.
Gdje nismo bili?
Are there sufficient reasons to believe that when the murderer attacked Boccherini, there was someone else in the house? The first possibility to be ruled out is that the car belonged to Boccherini. Vermont plates. Someone drove a long way.
Šta imamo u samom autu?
Let's take a look in the glove compartment. Bingo.
Bingo!
A man's cigarette case. OB. One of the Boccherini clan? Oh, shit.
Oh, shit!
I should have stayed in my diner. Are these teeth from the body? Well, at least I know why his teeth were pulled out, more or less. What is that?
Neki logo, oznaka?
Looks like a ritual. What was Boccherini mixed up in?
Ritual. Yeah.
The initials OB on a cigarette case.
Okay.
A car with Vermont plates. 1. It has Vermont plates. 2. It's too luxurious for a criminal of his standing. 3. The initials on the cigarette case don't match his name. The next possibility that needs to be ruled out is that the car was stolen. There should be evidence that there was someone else in the house. Teaspoon stained with blood and some mixture of sticky liquid and blood can only mean one thing. The spoon was used to remove Boccarini's eyes. The mutilations and the disappearance of his eyes suggest 2 possible motives. Psychopathy or cultist fanaticism. Which is it? Sick altar of human flesh. Some kind of symbol drawn in blood. Though I don't know the origin of the symbol in the bathroom and the altar of flesh and teeth, I'd say the motive was some kind of occult religion. The big question is, who did it?
Yeah.
A perfectly circular dint, as if someone had tried to hammer in a gigantic bolt, around 4 inches in diameter. Fingernails scratched the wood. Blood ran like water. Like a true bachelor, he should have put these into soak. Hours of scraping to get them clean. Although at this stage, I don't think Boccarini's too worried about that. Four glasses. 2 of water, 2 of wine. I've always been a whiskey man, but I know a good wine when I see one. Leftover lasagna, and it looks good. Why is it that 2 out of 3 Italian gangsters are great cooks? I'll never understand what the deal is with them and cooking. The plates and the glasses leave no room for doubt. Boccarini had company for dinner. Dirty plates, glasses, and silverware from a dinner. The dirty dishes and glasses prove that Boccarini ate lasagna with one other person. Was Boccarini's guest still in the house when the murderer showed up? What looks like the bottom of a broken whiskey glass found in the dining room. It seems clear that Boccarini and his guest were drinking when the murderer took them by surprise. The real question is, what happened to the witness? Did they escape? Did the murderer take them? Or are they still in the house? A door in the kitchen, locked from the inside. It opened. A door in the corridor jammed shut. One locked door could be a coincidence, but 2 locked doors which open onto the same room can't be. Either I'm completely wrong, or the witness is in that room. But I need Milton to open one of those doors. 2 pools of blood, one on either broken table, scratched. The bloodstains show that the murderer began to torture Boccarini on the dining table itself. That was where his hands were torn off. As a result, his wristwatch fell to the ground. How did the body reach its current position? The trail of blood from the dining room to the hall. The lamp, torn off its brackets and blocking Boccarini, already minus hands, was dragged into the hall, where the murderer used the brackets of the lamp to complete his macabre diorama.
Mr. Ness, can you open the door for me?
Ugh.
It was open. Why did you ring?
I thought I should use the doorbell, so I wouldn't startle you.
I didn't notice there was a doorbell.
Says the man Milton had left in charge of an important investigation. So, what can you tell me to restore my faith in you as a detective?
What is that?
Not a good start. It's a camera, so Alphonse can see all this.
All right. Follow me. Boccarini had company for dinner. Someone from Vermont with the initials OB. Someone whose social status was a lot higher, but who was on the same side of the law. He served lasagna, and after clearing away the dishes, they opened a bottle of whiskey in the dining room. That was when the murderer burst in on them, coming through the window which he broke with his own body weight. Boccarini, or maybe his guest, pulled a gun, but it was a waste of time. The murderer was so fast, he was disarmed before he could fire. He focused his attention on Boccherini, totally ignoring the guest, and lifted him up into the air. He then threw him against the dining room table so hard that one of the glasses of whiskey was embedded in Boccherini's back. He span around, clawing at the table, and immediately afterwards the murderer ripped off his hands. I have no idea how he did it, but all the evidence suggests he just pulled. Blood sprayed everywhere. The wristwatch fell to the ground. He dragged him through the corridor into the hall. He tore down the lamp, hung him from the brackets, and stabbed steel rods through his body. He skewered him on the iron bars, possibly taken from the fence outside, and pulled out his teeth one by one. Then he pulled his teeth out one by one as he died. Finally, he scooped out his eyes with a teaspoon. Boccherini must have been dead when the murderer went to the bathroom with his hands in his teeth. There, he arranged them to make an altar, weaving the fingers together and placing the teeth inside. Next, he painted something on the wall in blood, a symbol which I don't recognize, but which could have some kind of ritualistic significance. When he'd finished his artwork, he left. I don't know what he did with the eyes.
You're telling me that someone did all this armed with a teaspoon?
More or less.
And you worked all this out on your own, just by looking?
More or less.
I don't know which of the two of you scares me more. Wait a second. What about the guest?
Right. Come with me. Nothing.
Turns out Mr. Untouchable isn't infallible. But you were close. Congratulations.
This must be Boccherini's office. Let's take a quick look around.
All yours.
Okay. Read?
You're at a crime scene, and you sit down to read? Titus Andronicus. One of the actors on the Hindenburg lent it to me. They're performing it soon. You couldn't ask for more appropriate reading material. Murder, mutilation, torture. Shakespeare's got it all.
Why'd you go to jail?
For murder, but...
You didn't do it, of course.
Of course I didn't, but I didn't intend to.
We've lost the only lead we had to help us find Sophia Capone.
You think Boccherini's murder could be related?
Maybe. It's hard to say.
Prošli smo neki kovčec. Evo manija.
Jesus, there's at least $1 million here.
$1 million?
Mm-hmm. Boccherini's?
I'd be surprised. Probably his guests, and I doubt it was to pay Boccherini for his services. None of his forgeries are worth that much. Carlo, I have the goods for OB, but I have to take the children to school tomorrow and I can't make the meetup. Friday, same time, same place. It's signed NI.
Mm-hmm. These initials are getting to be a pain in the ass, right?
I have to take the kids to school tomorrow. I don't think this is some loving divorced daddy, Milton.
I take back what I just said.
The driver's license of one John Martinson and Osmond Burke. OB.
Do we know him?
The eldest son of the richest family in Vermont, convicted rapist. He was arrested thanks to the testimony of his father, who wound up disinheriting him. He escaped from prison last week. He broke into the family home and slit the throats of all his relatives one by one, opened the safe, and got away with a fortune.
They don't make jails like they used to. Add up, isn't it?
Out of my way! Ow! Ow!
All starting to add up, isn't it?
Out of my way! Ow!
Milton! Milton!
You're doing fine on your own, Mr. Ness. I believe in you.
Dobro se borimo za sada. Nije fair, on ima nož.
Get out of my way, I said! He's coming back!
Who's coming back?
Him! The monster!
The guy who killed Boccherini?
He was a monster! Oh, get your hands off me, Negro!
What was he like? Describe him for me.
He was a monster. Red and black. I mean, his head reached the ceiling. He tore off his hands with his claws! It was a monster! A monster!
Should I hit him again?
Yes.
You're Osmond Burke, right?
Yes.
Good. Now pay attention, Burke, because I have a question for you.
Documents.
Who is John Martinson?
I am.
Boccherini created a new identity for you. And I'll bet that under those bandages, there's a new face, fresh from surgery. Who is this money for?
Nikolai Ivankov.
Rings a bell.
One of Capone's right-hand men 20 years ago. What does this stuff about kids mean?
I don't know.
Calm down, Burke. You were going to meet up with him, right?
Yes, at the docks, berth 42, right next to where the Alligator 3 is moored.
So what's the meetup time?
Tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? No, it's going to be tonight. Don't get too comfortable. We'll be there in no time. The cops in Santa Esperanza aren't as straight as the cops in Vermont. Even so, I think they'll be delighted to see you at the station.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Ness. I have to take him to Alphonse.
Out of the question. I know his temper. He'll beat him to a pulp.
Listen, if the missing girl was your granddaughter, you wouldn't forgive me if I didn't let you see the only suspect who could lead us to her.
Okay.
Shucks.
What?
The smell of stale grease was bad enough, but the stink of whiskey is even worse.
Hvala svima na gledanju ovog videa. Ukoliko vam se video svidio, ostavite like ispod ovog videa, komentar ispod ovog videa također, dijeliti ovaj video zapis drugima putem drugih socijalnih mreža. Možete pratiti jednostavno na ostalim društvenim mrežama pod tabelom na mojem samom YouTube kanalu, o kanalu i dolje gdje pišu veze. Tu su sve moje društvene mreže ili moje stranice na koje također objavljujem video ili objavljujem neke informacije i novosti vezano za ovaj kanal na YouTube. Možeš ostaviti like, napraviti share ovog video zapisa, komentirati ovaj video zapis dolje jednostavno se pretplatiti na moj sam YouTube kanal ili se pridružiti kojoj društvenoj socijalnoj mreži također vezati sam YouTube kanal. To bi bilo to, ljudi. Hvala vam za gledanje ovog video zapisa i ne zaboravite se pretplatiti na moj YouTube kanal ukoliko to niste učinili prije. Ugodan dan, lijep dan vam želim i mi se vidimo u sljedećem novom gameplay videu. Bye!